Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a bonus reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Cancer, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, you can find that information in my Buy Me a Coffee link, my official Instagram and TikTok, all listed in the About section of my YouTube page, and I thank you so much in advance. Cancer, I hope that you're doing well. Today's reading is all about blockages. How can we clear away blockages of any and all kinds? Here's what your spirit guides have to say about it, right? So I'm going to be using two decks for your reading today. The Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle, which I feel like I only usually break out at Halloween because it is deep, dark, and dangerous. But it felt right for today, especially with this image of Medusa and the snakes, and it being the year of the snake. And for your tarot reading, the Pulp Tarot. The cards have been pre-shuffled. Let's get the overall energy for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Thank you. Well, Cancer. So remember, these are blockages. How can Spirit help us to understand what our blockages are and how to overcome them? And of course, of all the cards in this deck, which there's a myriad of imagery that is deep, dark, and dangerous, you got number 14, which corresponds to the Temperance card of the Major Arcana, Sagittarius energy. And the words are mermaid and beauty. So of all the cards that you could have received in this deck, which is filled with some pretty intense imagery, you got mermaid and beauty. So first of all, we can see here on the, sorry, let me try and just focus it. On the head there is like a clipper ship, and she's larger than life, and there's storm clouds in the background, and perhaps you'd be thinking, okay, how does this illustrate a blockage? Well, one, if you have or take issue with your own beauty, whether that is physical or your inner beauty. If you don't think you're beautiful enough, if you don't have self-confidence in that area, which is something that I relate to, and I'm also a Cancer, it can really affect your self-confidence, right? Like it can really affect how you interact with the world if you don't think that you're worthy or beautiful or have anything to offer in that department. And that's a very superficial reading, and I'm gonna get a little deeper with that, but right off the bat, it's almost like Spirit is acknowledging to me that you're beautiful, but also bringing this up as a very clear blockage for you. It has to do with self-worth. It has to do with value and what it is that we think we deserve, given the beauty that we put out into the world as Cancers. What are we receiving back? I think there's also this sense that perhaps this, because the scale is so strange, like from here down, everything seems like to scale, but this seems very abnormal. There's something to that too. It literally could be that you think that like maybe you have a bigger stature, and you're comparing yourself. I feel that too. With the number 14 card being referenced here, Temperance. The Temperance card is all about patience and transforming something from one state to another state. So this literally could be you transforming something in your life that is physical. You could have gone through some medical procedure or be going through that right now, where you feel disempowered in some way. Spirit is showing me, I had a surgery. I've had a couple surgeries. One of my surgeries, I had thyroid cancer when I was younger, and I have this scar on my neck that most people don't really even notice. When I was younger, when I first had that surgery, it was very bright red, and I was not a very confident child. And like, I just remember, you know, I remember actually saying this sentence, which, you know, as an almost 50-year-old at this point, it shocks me. You know, these are part of the things that we try to heal as adults, but I remember being 16 and a half and telling people that, like, I was already ugly, and that why did I have to undergo something that leaves a scar that makes me even uglier? Like, I literally said that sentence out loud. Like, sometimes I just like want to scream at the younger version of me, right? Because we're survivors, right? Especially cancers, come on. We're survivors. And like, this scar is like a badge of honor at this point. It made me who I am. It made me really resilient, and it also made me really grateful for my life. So whatever obstacles that you could be going through right now that may be related to this sense of identity, this sense of self, Spirit wants to try and reinforce the fact that to the divine, you are absolutely spectacularly, stunningly beautiful, Cancer. Sometimes it's hard to hear. Sometimes it makes you flinch to hear a compliment about yourself. It's like, just, if you don't want to take it as a compliment, let's call it feedback, right? But the Temperance card would also suggest, let us be patient with ourselves, with the process of understanding our identity, even as adults, right? We are not fully formed. We're not fully formed. We're still trying to figure it out. And I think here, I mean, especially, there's something here with the eyes being closed, like a refusal to see. Also, the mermaid brings up the story of the Little Mermaid, which I don't know if any of you have seen this. We talk about this on my channel, but like, that's my least favorite Disney film. Of all of the Disney films, and many of them are not great, I can't stand The Little Mermaid. I'm not going to get into why, but just, it's such an irritating, everybody disagrees with me. I'm the only one that has ever expressed this in my circle of friends. But there's something about that mermaid energy. It's like we almost can't access. There's a world that we feel like we can't access. But who said, right? I mean, I guess Ariel didn't let that stop her. So, but there could be this feeling of disconnect with you right now, that you feel disconnected from something in your world, and treading water. Spirit just said that you're just barely holding stuff together. Maybe that's part of it too, you know, as cancers, all cancers, right, are by nature caretakers of some kind, and it's kind of built into our DNA, I think, to care for others. So then at the end of the day, how much are you really helping yourself and paying attention to yourself and what it is that you need for your own health and your own well-being? I literally, right before I turned on this camera, because of course I have a day job that, you know, very grateful to it, but sometimes it can be demanding. And, you know, at this point I've done work 7 days in a row, and I was getting really frustrated. And I'm like, wait a minute, just take a day off. That's what it's there for. And so right before this, I turned on the camera, I had to say to one of my coworkers, I'm taking a mental health day this week. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to feel great about it because I need it. And it's very hard, right, for cancers to admit they need help, to admit that, you know, they can't handle things. We're stubborn. That's how we are, right? But this is the blockage, truly. This difficulty in recognizing your own worth, your own beauty. And I mean, okay, 3 cards for the base spread. This is a general reading. There's no past, present, future. It's just a message that your spirit guides want to tell you about how to overcome blockages. 3 cards for the base spread, 3 cards for clarifier. And at the end, I'll read from the book. It's very, I won't read the whole thing, but there are little short excerpts about each of the cards. So I'll read from that. 3 cards down. Empress already. First card out. I mean, you can't get any more beautiful than the Empress in the tarot. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You cannot get any more beautiful than her. You can't. It's like Cancer, like, really embrace it. Like, what would it feel like just for one day to truly look at yourself and think, I am really, really beautiful inside and out, and really believe that? What does that feel like? Okay. So, first 2 cards. Major Arcana number 3, the Empress. Well, in this image of the Empress, she looks a little bit like a seductress, but like, good on her, why not? The Empress has the power of all 4 queens of the tarot. So she gathers all of those resources and those strengths of the tarot, of all the elements, right? Air, earth, fire, water, and uses them to her advantage, but also understands it's not just about her. The Empress is very generous and giving and empathetic, but she's powerful, and she knows what her power is. They call her the master attractor, and that's for a good reason. That when she puts her mind to something, she just is able to rally everything inside her. And of course, this doesn't have to be talking about a woman. It is divine feminine energy, which we all have, divine feminine and masculine. So it's just somebody who embodies this strength of character, this strength of beauty, of resourcefulness, of an understanding of worthiness. That's literally what she's about. It's my favorite card. The Empress card is my favorite card in any tarot deck because of this power. It's like, now Spirit is saying, kind of work smarter, not harder. It's almost also saying, Spirit's almost saying, do less to achieve more. So sometimes when I interpret that expression, because I've said it many, many times, I've heard it many, many times, like especially in workplace scenarios, that we're sometimes running, like chasing our tails, because we're ill-prepared or uninformed, when if we slow down, like going 1,000,000 miles an hour, putting pressure on ourselves, thinking that's what we need to do. But if we slow down, we say, hey, wait a minute, what is actually required in this scenario? What do people need? How can I help? How can they help me? Let's get things down on paper, organize our thoughts, organize our actions, organize our resources, so that we can just get it one and done. Right? So there's a lot more prep on the front end. So there's something to that too, where the daily grind of the life of a Cancer, I'm sure, looks like taking care of friends and family and children and bosses, and I'm sure. I personally work with 5 Cancers that are quite close to me in my peer group at work, and they're all like that, all of them. right? They work themselves into the ground. And I do too. I'm guilty of it too. So I know some of you Cancers out there are just like shaking your heads, like you get it. But the Empress would ask us to maybe slow down, maybe not do everything for everybody, kind of let people simmer a little bit before you jump in and save the day, because of course Cancers can do that. And I'm not trying to be arrogant. To me, it's fact. I don't know. I could be biased, but to me, it's fact. I always know a Cancer when I meet one. I don't know if you feel that too. There's this intuition that happens because we're almost like hyper-focused or geared towards that empathy to others. So Spirit is saying, just sit back and turn that empathy and compassion and love back to yourself. The more you fortify yourself with those qualities, the more you can help others. Doesn't that make sense? I think so. I think so. It's clarified by the Four of Wands, stable foundation, the 1111 card. You can see here everybody's just having a grand old time. It doesn't seem like there's a care in the world. They're all having a party. It is a card of celebration. A celebration of, yes, we've built a solid foundation, and it is something that we've worked hard on. By the time we reach the Four of Wands, fire energy, we can be really proud of it. And we, in a way, create a portal into the next phase, into the next step. It's almost like Spirit is saying, you are already this, but I don't think that you give yourself enough credit. Spirit just said, you don't give yourself enough credit. That's exactly what it is. And that you're always celebrating other people. Do you celebrate yourself? The next two cards out here, the Hermit, number 12. Number 9. Number 12. Number 9. After the Chariot, it's like all the numbers get a little lost for me. Virgo energy. The Hermit retreats from society, from friendships, from family. It's a person, it represents a person that goes into their own heart and becomes a little bit, I don't want to say a recluse, because I don't see you hiding away, but I do see you protecting your energy, working on yourself. But there is a sense of isolation, and I think that isolation comes from, you know, having to tend to a lot of other people. It's exhausting. But Spirit is kind of encouraging you to do that. Draw some very distinct boundaries with people who are not reciprocating your effort or your time. And then we don't give to get. It's not that I'm saying that, but I am saying that there is a strong possibility that the Cancer is giving too much. And so we have to draw boundaries on our own behavior to save ourselves, right? So part of that is just being very introspective and quiet. Maybe not telling everybody your plans, because the Ace of Pentacles came out to clarify it. There is this sense in you that something's been happening lately where you've been getting signs and synchronicities from Spirit, because now they're showing me in my mind the signs and synchronicities they've been giving me that have just been absolutely perplexing, because I've seen them over and over, and I'm just like, what does it mean? What does it mean? You know, I would love to tell you that Spirit always answers my questions. When it comes to me, they don't always answer my questions. When it comes to tarot, the messages come, they come. They're fluid. It's very bizarre. But a lot of other tarot readers will tell you the same. It's very difficult for you to read for yourself. It's like it's like you shut off a different part of your brain. But they're showing me certain signs and synchronicities that I've seen, I guess, in the past 3 weeks that are very potent because they keep showing up. Do I know the full meaning of them yet? No. But I trust. I trust that Spirit is giving them to me kind of like little breadcrumbs. And not breadcrumbing in the crappy way of breadcrumbing people. Not about that. But it's more about clues. A glimpse into something that's coming. And I think that it's happening for you too. And you can feel it. And you're not really sharing it with a lot of people. You're not really telling people that you keep getting these signals from the universe. Because you're about to do something really big. New opportunity, new doors opening, new connections. The aces are all about potentials, though. Unless we do something with these offerings from Spirit, they don't go anywhere. And we'll get different offerings later on down the line, but when we see the opportunity, we should grab onto it if it feels right for us. I'm going to get one card. I'm going to clarify, what is this Ace of Pentacles about? You gonna tell me, Spirit? Okay. The Hanged Man in reverse. This is number 12 of the Major Arcana. That's hilarious, right? Because I got them wrong, and then the number 12 card ended up coming out. The Hanged Man is all about somebody who needs a different perspective. Spirit is not telling me what this Ace of Pentacles is in regards to, but what they are saying is that things will become very clear to you because you've been able to step back from a situation in your life and see it from the 30,000 foot view. Like things have become clear to you because you stepped back from it. That's what that card is all about. In the upright, it's like we're still in that place of trying to figure out that perspective. But in the reverse, it tells me that, nope, things have been figured out. I know that applies to me with a certain situation in my life. When I finally kind of drew the camera way back in my consciousness and I looked at this certain situation in my life that had been causing me a lot of stress and trauma, actually, when I pulled way back from it and I realized, wow, I've been really gaslit and taken for granted and, you know, all these things that we don't want to admit that happens to intuitives. You know, it's just like if I had been a little bit more I'm going to pause the camera for just 1 second. Sorry about that, Cancer. I live in a city and there was a domestic dispute happening, you know, right outside of my apartment building, and there was a lot of profanity, and I didn't need to capture all of that on camera. I don't take anything for granted when things are happening during my readings. It was pretty dramatic. There was somebody who intervened, or tried to. They didn't get very far, but the thing that the girl kept saying between profanity was, mind your business, mind your business. And the story I was telling you was something that happened to me where I experienced a lot of just gaslighting and things like that. And I told the person that perpetrated this, mind your business, stay in your lane, mind your business. And they didn't. So it's interesting that that incident happened. I almost called the police. So if that person hadn't driven away, I would have called the police. Right? So it feels like this. It feels like unnecessary drama that you were just like, I'm staying away from it because it's ruining my peace. It's ruining my vibe, my peace, my identity is not about causing issues and, you know, being embroiled in drama. Not about that. Not about that here. Right? But sometimes when we do find ourselves in the middle of something dramatic on an interpersonal level, right? It can have us questioning our value, the best of us, right? And you don't deserve that. The last two cards out here, Eight of Cups in the reverse, which I love to see it in this placement because to me, so the Eight of Cups in the upright is all about walking away from a situation that doesn't serve you. But I interpret the card in reverse as a kind of homecoming, walking back to the self, coming back to the self. It's clarified by the Ten of Wands. Finally, we're putting down burden because this is a card of burden. But the fact that the card is in the upright, it's like when we walk back to the self, when we walk back to our inner core and who we are as a person and where our integrity lies, anything that we're shouldering doesn't belong, we just cast it off. We return back to the Ace of Wands, where there is new potential, new inspiration, a spark of creativity, wanting to leap into a new direction. I'm going to get one card of advice from Spirit because we're going to bring it home with this. How can we further release? Well, we're releasing here, I see. Releasing that baggage. Trying to step into our Empress power. It's so funny that this card just popped out. In a kind of obnoxious way, I also will say. Sometimes like I'm shuffling and it'll clap in between. The Three of Cups. Now, I said this card, Four of Wands, was a card of celebration, which it is. The Three of Cups can also be seen as a card of celebration, but I want you to look at this picture very carefully. Do those look like people that you can trust? Because they don't to me. And this is why I always have problems with the Three of Cups in almost every tarot deck that I have. I take issue with this card, the Three of Cups, because for some readers, right, and I don't have to, I can completely ignore what the traditional meanings of the cards are and read intuitively. I'm just giving you the messages that are downloading, right? But the fact that this card came out as your advice, it is really bringing home for me of understanding who lifts you up, who encourages you, who tells you to keep going, who tells you that your ideas are great, who stands by your side when the chips are down or you're going through hardship. Who are those people? These people are just out to have a good time. And the minute you become difficult to be around because you're sad or you're angry or you're upset or you're struggling, if those people seem to disappear, then those are not your friends. Those are not people that you need in your life. And Spirit is really hammering that home for me, because It's those kind of people that can undermine our sense of self, our sense of beauty, our sense of worth. So let me read this little blurb from the book. Number 14, Mermaid. Beauty is a high value when it illuminates and inspires, but it is in the eye of the beholder. Relying just on outward appearances is shallow and temporary. If beauty is the only virtue, then others need to be developed. Love your own unique beauty. If you are using your beauty to manipulate someone, be wary. This particular kind of magic wears thin after a time. Right? So it's about understanding not only our inherent value and our beauty, but the beauty within others. Sometimes that can be difficult if they are misbehaving. So we're keeping all of that in mind. Cancer, I don't worry about that with you too much because you are already so naturally intuitive. You'll make the best decision for you. But Spirit just said a quote from a U2 song that I saw another tarot reader say, but I'm hearing it again in my head. Don't let the bastards grind you down. That's your reading, Cancer. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Cancer.